Hello and welcome to Discovering Libertyville, unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I am your host, David Wool, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders right here in a place that we call home. Jan Leisure, Diamond Residential Mortgage, has been financing Libertyville homes from the same office at 533 North Milwaukee Avenue since 1999. You may also know Jan as a former teacher, or as a college instructor, or as a journalist, contributing editor to Mortgage Broker Magazine, Mortgage Originator Magazine, or the money-saving super saver who walked into supermarkets with a fistful of coupons and walked out with $400 worth of groceries, and the stores paid her, or as your mortgage banker. Jan brings all of these skills to bring your transaction to the closing table on time. Jan has commitment, determination, integrity, and a positive attitude to make your home finance experience a great one. Jan Leisure, Diamond Residential Mortgage. My Charcuterie has the perfect boards, boxes, and grazing tables for any occasion. Get-togethers and parties of all sizes will be so much tastier when you bring their delicious charcuterie designs to the table. Their team uses only the very best ingredients to ensure creations that are always curated with the highest quality meats, cheeses, and produce. Imagine hosting a holiday celebration, corporate event, or dream wedding where everyone is blown away by the striking beauty and vibrant taste of the food. That's why they call it food artistry. For your next special event, visit My Charcuterie, located at 214 Peterson Road in Libertyville. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Libertyville. I hope everybody's doing good out there today, and thank you so much, Libertyville, for listening. I'm here with J.R. Escobar today. How are you, J.R.?
I'm doing awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me, because we live in close to each other, and your name has come up probably 100 times since we started doing Libertyville.
Interesting. Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, well, it's my pleasure. So if you don't know, J.R. is the owner-proprietor of Pizzeria Deville, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what a cool story, and I would love to share. First of all, I want to go over a little bit of your background and find out how the heck this all happened. So tell me a little bit about yourself first.
Yeah. I kind of always viewed myself as that quiet, shy kid that kind of grew up in a small town. I grew up in Round Lake Heights, Illinois. So,
which is a giant town, right?
Humongous.
Right, it's like 2,000 people.
The great thing, what I've always liked about Lake County is you got that small town feel, but once you go out of town, there's another small town. So, even being in small Round Lake there, Round Lake Heights, you got the big Round Lake Beach right down the road. So I always thought that was nice. Right.
So then you grew up there. So then did you go to high school and everything all through at Round Lake?
Went to Round Lake High School, graduated in 1995, I believe. Maybe it was 94.
Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy when you forget that, right?
It just means we're getting old. That's what it means. Or we don't want to know, so we block it off intentionally.
Yeah.
So that after high school and everything, so how do you get in the restaurant business or food service business? How do you start there?
It's actually the only thing I've ever done. So if you know Round Lake at all, Richard Chicken right there in Round Lake Heights was my first job at 14 washing dishes. So it's something that I've been passionate about the whole time. It kind of mentioned that I was a little bit of the shy, awkward kid. I think that restaurants always helped me kind of break from that a little bit. So
sure.
I got to be someone else when I was in a restaurant than that. Especially when you're serving people, it's like you really have to put your best foot forward, and I think that kind of helped me break that mold a little bit. So it's always something I enjoyed.
Right. So start washing dishes at 14. Then what do you do after that?
Then I worked at Dunkin' Donuts for a little bit, and actually Taco Bell before that, right there as well in Round Lake Beach. Then I went to Dunkin' Donuts, and then at the same time that's when I started in management. So that was around the age of 18. Just after high school, and then I started at the Pizza Hut right there on Rollins Road, where I think it's already been it's about to be something different now.
Right.
So I started there at the age of 18 as a delivery driver.
Okay, so by 18 you've done dishes, you've served, and you've in management stuff and delivery. So you're getting a well-rounded thing of what the food industry is like.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so after that, what do you do?
Literally, that's what I did for 23 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I started as a delivery driver at that Pizza Hut. And then by the end of my career with Pizza Hut, I was managing 11 stores between Lake County and McHenry County for Pizza Hut, which was awesome.
So you know a little bit about pizza and the pizza business by that point.
Yeah.
Okay, so after Pizza Hut, then you do all that. So why did you stop there? And then what did you do after that?
So when I started in pizza, it was like 1996, and I thought at that time, Pizza Hut was like the coolest place, right? Like every town had a Pizza Hut, and it was the place to be on a Friday night. And it was great, and it was something that I absolutely loved and was passionate about. Mm-hmm. And I think as people know, Pizza Hut changed over those years that followed, So I found myself in a position where I felt like my growth was stifled by the company that I was with. So I made a decision to do something different and try something different. And the way that things work in life, sometimes it seems like things happen for a reason, even the bad stuff. So I decided to leave Pizza Hut, and I went to a company called Cafe Zupas, they're starting to grow again. They just opened up another store in Wisconsin, but they had some stores here. They were opening in Illinois and in Wisconsin at the same time. They're a Utah company as well, privately held, and I have a lot of respect for them. It's a really awesome brand, and it taught me a lot going from like that Pizza Hut world where everything kind of came in frozen and chopped already. At Cafe Zupas, it was hey, we make everything from scratch and it's house made, and I noticed how much better the product was at that point. But yeah, so I went to Cafe Zupas and I opened up the Deerfield location and the Vernon Hills location, which was a lot of fun. And then COVID kind of came, right, and that changed a lot of things for a lot of people. And Cafe Zupas being new to the market here in Illinois, they saw a big hit with COVID, especially since everything was dined in for them. They had massive dining rooms, and they just had hired me, who was a district manager that was switching companies, and so I had a pretty decent salary, and I was the new guy, so they were like, it's a casualty of the situation, and I got to spend a year off at home with my daughter.
Wonderful.
Which was awesome.
Do you have one child?
One child, yeah, one girl.
And how old is she?
She just turned 18.
Nice.
Yeah, about to go to college.
Super. Well, exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm glad COVID didn't last long because now you have college to pay for.
Yeah.
Too. Okay, so you're there and COVID hits and then you get let go. So you get a year at home.
Yeah, get a year at home.
Yeah.
So to kind of to segue into my next step there, the crazy thing is that I work for this district manager. His name was Martin. He was from Utah, at Cafe Zupas, because I had mentioned Cafe Zupas was a Utah company, and he's the one who gave me my pink slip. And we had a great bond together when we worked there, and I could tell the look on his face that day. It was something that wasn't coming from him. Yeah. And it was a hard thing to swallow anyways. I would honestly say that it hurt my ego at that time, coming from, I was the man in Lake County for when it came to Pizza Hut, in McHenry County, to taking a risk, and then I'm getting a pink slip, and great, the year was great, but I came out of that feeling like maybe I wasn't in the right situation or field or whatever the case may be. But then time goes by, and Martin leaves Cafe Zupas and goes and decides to help open up Crumble Cookies in Milwaukee. It's a new concept coming from Utah, and he has connections with Utah, and he knows he met the franchiseers that were growing the crumbles there in Milwaukee. And first thing he did was call me. So he's like, "Hey, JR, I got a job. I'm starting on Monday, and I want you to come interview on Monday on my first day to open up one of our new stores in Pleasant Prairie."
That must have made you feel good.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
Right,
yeah.
And that probably changed your attitude from what you thought before.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so you go interview with them on the first day.
On the first day, and then I started a couple days later than that. Yes.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So how is that going from pizza to crumble cookie?
So going from Cafe Zupas, what I liked about the segue to both of those is Crumble as well as Cafe Zupas, that open kitchen, everything made from scratch. Every Crumble Cookies makes all their cookies from scratch right there in front of the guests every single day. And I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about, what that does for the guest experience in general, and what kind of environment you could build around that.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Yeah, it seems like all of your jobs too, even though you consider yourself, air quotes, awkward and whatever, but being in front of people and serving people seems to be a passion of yours.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
making people happy.
Yeah, it's what's kept me there. Is I get to be that person. I get to put smiles on people's faces every day. And then the other huge part of that is a lot of us talk about the guest because the guest is important. But my philosophy is that your guest experience never exceeds your team experience. So working with teams is really the thing I'm the most passionate about. I literally put that on every resume that I've ever had. Is what are you best at? I'm a team builder. That's what I do.
Wow. Okay, which has worked pretty well for you.
Yeah, I would say so, yes.
So Crumble Cookies, are you still involved with Crumble Cookie?
So I technically was employed until the end of 2023.
Okay.
So interesting thing is that I was really happy with Crumble. I was doing a lot of good things. We were expanding. We went from I think they had 2 stores built in the 12 store market that they had up there when I joined on, and there was 12 by the end of it. So we helped open a lot of stores, build a lot of teams, build a lot of systems. It was great. So then next thing I know, one day I'm scrolling through Facebook as people do, and I see this article. I think it was from the Patch, and it says longtime place Pizzeria Deville is closing its doors permanently. And backtracking that just a little bit is that 6 months before, I'm always a pizza guy. Like if anyone you ask, it's like pizza, tacos. That's my go-tos,
Right.
So and I'm a big fan of One Bite. So I've been watching pizza reviews, and I'm like, I want to discover the pizza places that I don't know. I have my go-tos, my favorites. And so I lined upon looking at One Bite app and seeing some reviews for Pizzeria Deville. I've passed it a million times. I love downtown Libertyville, and I've been a long-time patron. But a lot of the times it was like we would have an outing for something that I was in, and we'd have these things called dad's meetings.
Yes.
Which was meetings, quote unquote.
Right, meetings. I know.
Starting at Mickey Finn's, and some people drop off by the time you get to Morgan's. Some people drop off at and if you make it to the island, then you're a beast, right?
Absolutely.
So I passed Pizzeria Deville a million times before that, but I never went in because most of the time I was in Libertyville at that time. It was late night and they were kind of closed early, but I was always curious. I always heard the pizza was really good. So 6 months before that, as I'm searching for pizzas, I'm like, I want to try this place that I'm seeing some good reviews on. So the first time I go with my daughter, I have a Ma Pie, which is one of their most famous pizzas. So that was my first experience with Pizzeria Deville. My daughter's gluten sensitive, so she has their homemade gluten-free pizza. She likes it a lot as well. Then I just started going there, sometimes with her, sometimes I just go pick up a pizza, a 10-inch for myself. Cheese and tomato pie was usually my go-to when I was by myself. And I really liked it. I mean, the sauce was great, the dough was great, the experiences were great. So I was really shocked when I saw that article that they were closing. So I, as someone that's been in the restaurant industry for a long time, that kind of sparked my interest. I was like, that's a good place that has good reviews. It's in a great location. And who doesn't? If you're a restaurateur, who doesn't want an opportunity to have a great place in downtown Libertyville? So I explored it, and
wow,
here we are.
Wow, that's crazy. So who's the first call you make? Do you find out? I want to know how you meet John Turner.
So the first thing I do is on the article, at the end of the article, it says that the landlord is looking for another tenant, and that's what sparked my interest. When I read that, I was like, well,
you don't have to buy the building first, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I went up that night that I read the article at like 9 o'clock at night, and the phone number's on the window, and I called the landlord, and she actually answers like that late, and she says she's going to be there the next day. So I met her the next day after that. It was like maybe 2 days after they closed their doors. So I didn't meet John at that time, but I met the landlord, and she's like, oh, and by the way, John is looking to get rid of some of his supplies, so on and so forth, and here's his number. And so I reached out to him.
Oh. Yeah. How did that phone call go?
It was great. I mean, John's a wonderful guy. He's almost larger than life, if you ever met him before. It complements me different. We're kind of on opposite spectrums of that a little bit, but that's good, So I always enjoyed being around people like that because it helps, bring it out of you a little bit,
Of course. So, yeah. And it's good. We all complement each other and bring out great things within each other.
Absolutely.
Which is good. That's why you got to hang around good people.
Absolutely.
Oh. So after you talked to John, you set up a meeting to chat with him. Was he wanting to see Pizzeria Deville continue, or was he just, because obviously it probably had a lot to do with COVID why he wanted out, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that they took a hit on COVID, and then and he's been public with this, but he went back to working full time, and if you work full time and that running a restaurant's a full time job, and most people don't do 2 full-time jobs. It's a hard situation.
And having your own business like that is probably 2 full-time jobs anyway.
Exactly. So then you're probably looking at 3 full-time jobs.
Right, exactly.
And, it's not like he went to some small job that he was doing anyways. He's a professional, so I'm sure he was doing more than a full-time job in the first place, Right. So I think with that and kind of coming out of COVID and maybe... I think he had some great leadership there, but I don't think there was like a number one kind of situation. And I think that's a hard thing too, because there kind of needs to be a number one. I think to run a business as complex as Pizzeria Deville kind of is,
Right. So what is your first step there? So you talk to John, and then you decide. So you're able to take over the lease. That's the first step, right?
Yeah. So I would have to talk to the landlord, get her approval on me taking over the business. To be honest, like one of my first thoughts was that maybe Libertyville wanted something fresh. So maybe I would change the name, maybe I would change some recipes and see if I can't do something different or whichever. And then as I was researching and especially going through the social media posts, as I said, I was definitely a customer, but I was like a newer customer versus the people that really were going there since like 2014, And I saw how much, I don't want to use the word pain and anguish, but it felt like that sometimes when I read some of the posts about how shocked people were that this wasn't going to be in their life anymore.
Right. And it was a mainstay. It was
absolutely.
Like really part of the community.
Yeah. So I was like, that would be a mistake for me to do that. That would be a mistake for not to try to live that on, and to do the best I can at keeping true to what the town already loved.
Right. Okay, so doing that, and that being said, while talking to John, do you say, do you have to buy the recipes from him? Do you get to keep everything the same? Because I'm sure people are like, oh, well, there's new ownership. Is it going to be the same pizza? Is it going to be the same? How does that work?
I could tell that John still had passion for Pizzeria Deville, so I think that he would embrace the idea right away. So, and if anything, he made it as easy as possible to make that happen. So I know it was a passion project for him, and I know that it was his baby, and I know that from what I saw and gathered, at least, it was a big part of like him raising his kids even,
Right.
So his kids worked with him there and went off to college and so on and so forth. So if anything, I think that he would do anything he could to make that legacy go on, especially if it didn't have to be under his control at that point.
Wow. Imagine how he must have felt to have somebody come in there and want to continue what's been a big part of his life. Like that. It must have made him feel real good, and especially having somebody that wanted to continue that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know he's a huge community guy.
Absolutely.
So to keep a staple in Libertyville going, where people, it's like, and people that don't live in small towns don't know what that's like, right? And well, not that we live in really small towns, but to have something like that where you're used to taking the family to, or your family night out, to have that come back. So he closed. How long was Pizzeria Deville closed before reopening?
I think the day was either September 5th or 6th. I think it was the 6th was their last day. I was in talks immediately, but I didn't get things going because there was a lot to do in the background to get financing and all that other stuff as well. So I really didn't get a solid until like November. And then we signed the lease on December 1st.
Okay.
And obviously made all the purchases from John, so on and so forth. And then I closed out my time at Crumble by the end of December. So I started right away on January 1st full time.
Wow, so you really didn't take any time off.
No,
You just hit the ground
immediately. Yeah.
Fun.
And I had a lot of stuff to wrap up at Crumble so they could continue on their thing there. So I pushed it at the end and kind of burned the candle at both ends. And then day one, as soon as I was done with Crumble, I was there full time at Pizzeria Deville.
Wow. Okay, because you know a lot about management, you know about team building, and you know a lot about pizza in general, and you know how community works with people and having it a favorite place to go. What is your, after the equipment purchases are made and all that, what is your first step that you do to ensure that this is going to be successful?
Well, I would say that I didn't get to hire a team until the end. I would say that was probably the best step that I had done, because I have a really great team. I got some really talented, excellent people, and I think that's going to be a key thing to our success. And then the other thing was really just asking a lot of questions about the past and kind of getting a good understanding of what Pizzeria Deville was, because there was a lot to learn. I mean, we do a lot of crazy stuff to bring the best pizzas to Libertyville. So I don't think a lot of people know this. It's not something that they advertise a lot, but every piece of, let's say, a meatball or Italian sausage, it doesn't come in a bag or anything like that. It doesn't even come in pre-ground. We get fresh cuts of meat and we grind them in-house and make them from scratch. So every piece of Italian sausage started as a whole piece of pork when it came to our restaurant.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it was so much to learn so fast. We're talking, at the end, if people had went to Deville, they probably noticed that maybe that leadership wasn't there a little bit. Things weren't terrible. It was actually still a great experience, even when I had, but things weren't as fresh and as polished as they could be. So we took a lot of time doing that first. So we added in soda lines. There was not soda lines previously there. We freshened up the paint. We cleaned everything that we could. We recommissioned the downstairs dining room and bar so that we could start with full service in that right away when we opened. We put everything back up to code that the village wanted us to put it back up to code. Sure. Trash enclosures. We fixed the elevator the handicap elevator that was there. I don't believe it was been working for a little bit, and we had to bring that up to code as well. And we did all that relatively quickly at the same time of learning everything that I had to learn about the brand. So if we talk about December 31st was my last day at Crumble. Started on New Year's Day at Deville full time. And then we were open by February 9th.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy.
Crash course and everything going on.
Full throttle every single day, every waking hour.
Wow.
So
this is you by yourself.
So I have a really good friend that I grew up with in Round Lake that is a general contractor who does a handyman kind of situation, owns his own company. So I brought him on full time to help, and we did it all with help of his son as well in like a month and a half. Got the place up to where we could open, and then I focused on hiring the team. And crazy enough is that like most of those recipes, I got to read them in a recipe book, and I got to visualize making them. But until I hired that first team member, right. That first cook, and we got food in, I didn't see it or really know the processes until 4 days before we opened.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's got to be a little stressful too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially after the bar is set very high. Beforehand, and it's people's favorite place to go. I'm sure there's some apprehension of people going, okay, there's a new owner, like whatever, are they going to expect the same kind of experience and quality of food as before? So how was the town embraced you?
The first day that we opened, we did a soft open, so we just pretty much opened the doors and put a sign up that we're now open. We wanted to see what kind of came in naturally, and so that we can get that practice. And it got confident real quick. We did a really good job, and we didn't announce anything until after Valentine's Day, so that we didn't overwhelm ourselves. And Valentine's Day went super great. And I got super confident, and I immediately went on after Valentine's Day and posted that we're officially open to like the general public. And then that Friday that came, we absolutely got destroyed.
Did you really?
Destroyed. Yeah. So anyone that might be listening that maybe experienced that first Friday, feel free to email me at info@pizzeriadeville.com, and I'll take care of you.
Okay.
But I learned a ton that day. I was like, we just underplanned. We didn't think that it was gonna. But we had opened both floors, and we didn't expect every single table to be sold out that first night.
So you had every single table the first Friday.
Yeah, the first Friday.
Wow, that should show you how excited the community is.
Absolutely, yeah.
So while there were struggles with that and a bunch of learning curves that day, at least it showed you that the community was embracing it.
And we adjusted by the next day. That Saturday, we were able to increase sales by 30 or 40% over that Friday, and to walk away smiling with our shift. So it was wonderful.
Wow.
And we've kind of been that way every day since.
Really?
Yes.
So just business is great?
Just business is great. Yeah, I think that that the community is liking it. I think that the service that we're providing, having both floors, being able to take in more people, we haven't been on a wait yet, even though there's been times where we've had 180 tables through the day. As someone walks in the door, we're able to find them a seat right away. So It's been awesome.
That is awesome, and congratulations, because that's big accomplishments, and it sounds like you work your ass off. So it just didn't happen that way. You constantly move and adjust and make the adjustments to make people happy. I hear, because I have a lot of friends in the restaurant industry, that especially these couple of years, things have been hard. Whether it's even people don't understand like food prices, even still supply chain issues and things going on like that. Has that affected you in a lot of different ways? Or obviously you've had to adjust. That we're in a different world in the restaurant business, right?
Yeah, we try to find a nice balance with that. So we wanted to be affordable to the area as well, but we had to make sure that we made adjustments. It's crazy. Like eggs, I think has went up something like 100% in the last 2 years. That's
unbelievable,
insane.
Right. Wow. So those things you obviously had to plan for or adjust for, but there's still a lot of unknowns, because I'm sure stuff's still changing. Whether at one point, somebody was telling me there's a chicken shortage and there was this shortage and this, so you have to be in the know and know how to adapt all the time.
Absolutely.
Wow. And I also, one of the other things that I had heard a compliment about you too is that you have some of the employees that used to work there that you rehired to come.
Absolutely, yeah. Almost the entire kitchen, which was, it was such a blessing for me,
Almost the whole kitchen?
Almost the whole kitchen, yes.
Well, that makes things a little bit easier on your end too, right?
100%.
Wow. Biggest challenge that you have faced there? You seem like a real positive guy, and it doesn't seem like you get rattled about things, but you instantly jump on stuff. So
yeah. I'm more of a full throttle, let's go all the way, guys. I wouldn't say anything's been overly challenging. I think that some of the things that we wanted to kind of focus on right away to kind of help compensate for some of those things is I'm someone that I want to do as much as I can, and then if it's not going to work, then I could shrink it down from there. I'm not go small and then build it up. I'm let's go big and then see where we got it from there, where we go from there. So one thing that we did is I knew instantly that I wanted to be open 7 days a week, and I know I wanted to serve lunch every single day, and I know I wanted to build up to be open later to serve people, especially on the weekends, because Libertyville is an awesome place on the weekends and the evenings, and I wanted to be a part of that. So those are some things I wanted to change and adjust right away, and we have. And I think the community is embracing that as well. Mondays, they used to always be closed, and we've had great Mondays. So people are excited because there's a lot of places in downtown Libertyville that are closed on Mondays.
Yes, it irritates me so much, because if I work weekends all the time, and maybe some of the times I get to go to the places I want to are on Mondays. It's always disappointing me to go to one of my favorite places and have it closed on a Monday. So hats off to you for doing that, because that is a huge thing. How about tell me a little bit about the support from governmental wise of reopening there, with officials, with trustees, things like that. How has the community on that level supported you?
Absolutely amazing. Everyone from the mayor down to everyone I've dealt with at every branch of the village halls has been amazing. So I could tell right away that they wanted someone to do this, and they were going to do everything they can to be supportive of that, and that's been great.
It's nice when you work on a project where everybody gets what they want, right?
Yeah.
The community gets what they want, the village gets what they want, you get what you want, and when everybody comes together. Because it is, like we've talked about before, it's kind of a historical, it's a mainstay of Libertyville.
Absolutely.
Wow. All right, so we're going to pause here for 1 second because we do something called the Libertyville Hot Seat. So I have some rapid fire questions. We're going to get to know JR just a little bit better on a personal level. So I don't know how many shows you've listened to, but we get to have a little fun with this. And I'll jump all around here because I think some of these I probably already know the answer to. But anyway, I'm JR Escobar on the Libertyville Hot Seat. Welcome to the Libertyville Hot Seat. The Hot Seat today is brought to you by our friends at Mickey Finn's Brewery. And by the way, if you haven't listened to Brian Grano's podcast, get over there and listen to it right away. So once again, thank you to Mickey Finn's for sponsoring the Libertyville Hot Seat. Hey bartender, can I have a
Jack and Coke?
Your Jack and Coke.
Jack and Coke, yeah.
Really?
That's always my go-to. Yeah.
Really?
Maybe a shot of Screwball.
Okay, that's good. I'm a Screwball fan as well. What's your favorite movie of all time?
I could watch Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore any day.
Now looking, I can see that after getting to know you a little bit better. Do you have a pet peeve?
In the business, it's like cash drawer organization.
Really?
So I want every bill to be facing the same way. Things like that. Yeah, it probably annoys some people I work with.
Hey, everybody's got their thing. Favorite sports team?
Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and he's wearing a Chicago Bears sweatshirt right now.
That was an easy one.
That one I knew the answer to. What's your highest score in bowling?
I'm absolutely terrible. Like with bumpers or without bumpers?
We've never had an answer this way. So with bumpers.
With bumpers, I could probably clear 110 with bumpers.
Nice. I want to go bowling with you.
Yeah.
And gamble with you at the same time with that. What's the last show you binge watched?
That's a tough one because, okay, I can easily say this. It's probably Shameless with my daughter. We've been watching a little bit of that, but I actually stopped watching television 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So besides that, which was more like a bonding thing and something for us to do, I don't really watch too much TV.
Yeah, me too. It's nice when you can do that with your kids, especially when they're old enough to watch Shameless too, and you can laugh at some extremely inappropriate stuff, which is fun. Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
Yeah, I do actually.
What is it?
Bodies from Drowning Pool.
Which we're going to get back to music after we're done with this. Okay, and I want to come, next time you're singing that, I better be invited out. Have you ever won an award?
Yes.
You know what it was?
It's probably been, so I would say the
Pinewood Derby champion?
Actually, yeah, that would probably be the last one, the Pinewood Derby champions for Indian Princesses.
Oh,
yes,
really?
Yes. But it was best design. Oh. So, so
my car
totally
was kidding.
Terrible. My car was absolutely awful, but we won top in design.
Awesome. So you were involved with Indian Princesses with your daughter?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. That's such a cool program.
It was absolutely wonderful. One of the best things I could ever did for my relationship with my daughter.
Well, I can't tell that you like bonding at all with your daughter, by the way. So nothing like a good dad. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Pool or ocean?
Ocean.
How many times do you exercise per week?
0.
All right. I like honesty. Favorite candy?
Snickers.
Snickers. Are you a high five guy or a knuckles guy?
High five.
High fives. What are you afraid of?
Snakes.
Snakes.
I turn into a little girl. I see a bicycle tire on the road, and I turn into a little girl. So.
Tell me about the second time you got arrested. It's a trap.
It is a trap. So I'm going to plead the fifth.
All right. How often do you shave?
I shave probably twice a week.
All right. This is a very important question that the community definitely needs to know. How many days can you wear the same pair of jeans without washing them?
Is there a limit to that?
I don't.
Oh,
I don't think so.
I think it's infinity. No.
Okay. I wear them until they don't fit anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
They start getting loose. Yeah. They go from comfortable to too much to I gotta wash them so they get back in shape.
And then you wash them, dry them. It's like having a new pair of jeans because now they fit again. Are you a texting guy or a talking guy?
Text.
Okay. What do you put on your pizza?
Everything. I mean, that's what I love about pizza. It's like, is there one topping that you go for? I mean, my pizzas are different every time.
Do you find that people order the same thing all the time?
Sometimes. I would say it's half and half. Yeah. Like, I've noticed there's some people they want something different every single time. And there's some people that are going to get their go-to and they're going to go with that over and over again.
Yeah, because I'm the guy that likes to try different things.
Yeah,
right?
I'm that guy too, yeah.
Okay, because the age-old question that people argue about all the time, is it okay to put pineapple on pizza?
We don't offer pineapple, but I say yes.
Okay. Well, I want you to offer pineapple, or I'm not coming in. No, but that's people always say, oh my God, that's gross, but
it's good. Yeah.
Everybody's got their thing, and you put anything on pizza, right? Tell me a celebrity you've met.
Jonathan Davis from Korn.
Nice. I can already see your music choices here. I'm getting to know you just a little bit better. What's the last thing you purchased on Amazon?
Honestly, it was probably a supply for the store.
Of course.
Yeah.
First concert you ever attended?
First concert I ever attended was Biohazard in the 90s, the mid-90s, with House of Pain.
Nice.
Which was super cool. And Korn was actually the opening band for that.
Really?
Of the very unknown Korn, even before their first record.
I was going to say, did you know who Korn was then?
No, I had no idea. Yeah.
Right. That's fun.
That concert changed my life, though.
I see that. Yeah. I see that. And we'll end on a serious one. What do you wish you would have learned sooner in life?
I would say that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a hard one too sometimes.
I feel like there's a lot of lessons I learned early, which has helped me. But I'm trying to think of one that definitely would have. I would say, if anything, I would say like health is important.
Yes.
Right. And to take care of it while it's in good shape.
Yep. It's the biggest and best tool that we have.
Absolutely.
And yeah. And as we get older here, it's not the easiest thing to do.
Absolutely.
All the time. Okay. Well, thank you for doing those with me.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. All right. So let's go with let's talk about music. Because I think that when we first started talking, honestly, I didn't know anything about you, and now as we're getting talking, I'm like, wait a minute here. We talked about bands. We talked about so let's talk about your love of music and when you started to play and kind of what you did for your past musical history.
Yeah, music's always been important to me. I felt like it was always an escape. I'm a daydreamer. So I have a lot of memories of like watching MTV as a kid and like just putting myself in different situations. Wanted to be, if you asked me when I was a kid what I wanted to be, there was one answer. Until the age I was probably 28 is when I stopped answering it different, but I wanted to be a rock star. Really? That's always what I wanted to be. Yeah.
How'd that work out for you?
Did
you get to play around with it?
Yeah, I got to play around. I had a lot of fun. So I was in bands in high school, and then after high school, and when I was in Pizza Hut time, I was in a band called Wingnut. And we were around for, I believe, like 3 years, 4 years. We got to do a lot of cool stuff, play the rave in Milwaukee a few times.
Did you really?
Yeah, we got little small tours, went to like Tennessee and Iowa. It was a lot of fun.
That's cool. So your love of music and doing that, did you play an instrument in school that got you into that?
I played a little bit of guitar, and I always loved drums. I still even play drums when I can, even though I'm not that great. I can hold a little bit of a beat. But I've always been pretty good at vocals, if you consider what I do vocals, which is like, a little bit of rapping, singing, screaming, a little bit of
I've been yelled at a lot, so yeah. I might like that. So in the band, you were the singer.
Singer, correct. Yeah.
Right. Now, tell me about like getting your first band together. Are they buddies? Like, how does one put a band together? And how old were you?
It's always about buddies and stuff like that. I would say my first band we were in high school, so just friends, people that we played around with, and then you'd find out someone else played drums, and it's like, okay, well, here we go. This is what we have to do is get together and be in a band, you know.
That's
so there was a band. When I was an underclassman in high school in Round Lake, there was a band that was a hardcore band, which is like unheard of from like the early 90s.
Right.
Called Stifle from Round Lake.
Okay.
I'm still friends with most of those guys, and they were an awesome band. Especially for what they did. They got to play like all kinds of cool places that hardcore bands from LA when they came out to play in Chicago, they would play with Stifle, you know, things like that. So it was really cool. So I got to see like the underground side of music, and kind of discover that as it was happening in real time. So it was pretty amazing.
How fun is that? I bet you have a lot of great stories about stuff like that.
Some amazing stories.
You want to tell us one?
Some concerts. I mean, just
your favorite one.
Just the amount of shows that I've been to that have been amazing. Like seeing like bands like I remember I got to see a show at the Metro that was with Incubus, Limp Bizkit, and System of a Down at the Metro. So you're talking like 600, 700 people.
Wow.
You know, and those names at that band, you know, at that level is just amazing, you know.
How cool is that? And the Metro's a great place to see a show,
Absolutely.
first of all, and especially three of probably your favorite bands just to see in one place.
Didn't even know that at the time, though, right? That's the amazing thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I remember the first time I saw the band, the name, because I went that first concert we talked about. We're like, going to see Biohazard, House of Pain, totally cool. But what's this opening band, Korn? What kind of name is that? And they just blew my world, you know, changed it.
That's fun. That's fun. And when you get to see them in the beginning, my first concert I saw Men at Work, and I always remember my dad going, you know, it's Australian bands, and like the people opening for him, he said there was Inks. So InXS was opening for Men at Work.
Okay.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, so now looking back, like you never knew. Like I probably didn't pay attention to anything, but looking back, going, it makes you feel old, but it's cool to see those guys when they're younger like that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Before they start. Okay, so when did you drop off being in bands?
So I did it, and my daughter was born in 2006, and when she was 6 months old is kind of when I stopped. So then I started focusing on, you know, my career a little bit more. I was a general manager at the time at Pizza Hut, and that's when I kind of stepped into being a district manager at that time. So
do you still dabble around in it?
When I can. My buddy Dustin is the guitar player for Moon Money. They play all the time at Finn's, and he's the sound guy, one of the sound guys at Finn's. The other sound guy at Finn's, Brad, is the guy who like recorded us back in the day, and he still does recordings today. So
does he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, isn't it funny?
He has some of the best sound guys there are in the area by far.
Really, and they have them at Finn's.
Yep, absolutely.
Wow. And I know that live music is such a big thing over there, just to
Huge.
see, like,
yeah.
And without good sound guys, night can go wrong really fast. And I'm sure you appreciate it more, especially from having years on stage doing things too. So, wow, that's awesome. So no more music. And Chair sent me a YouTube link that I may or may not post in the show notes here, so everybody go check it out. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. All right, so now Libertyville, now having your business there, and turning something around that was a staple, and now it's yours, man. Okay, so you have a lot of responsibility on your hands as well. So future plans for Pizzeria Deville. Like, do you have any things that you want to improve on? You're just going to keep everything the same, just plans for the future?
Yeah, the plan was to come in and establish it, to know what they were doing before, and then to know how our clientele responds to that, and then to adjust accordingly to that. There's some things that we did right away that we changed. So, like, we added the soda line so we could offer more beverages, and then also I added a line of refreshers as well, and that's going super, super well.
Tell me what a refresher is, because I don't know what a refresher
so if you
is.
go, like, my introduction to it is, like, I'm a coffee drinker in the morning. I love Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, and I would go get a coffee, and my daughter couldn't wait to, like, spend my money on a refresher.
I I've spent a lot of money on refreshers and I don't even know what they are.
Yes.
Right.
And I just didn't get it, But then I started looking at what they were, and then as I talked about my connection to Utah, I've been out to Utah a couple times, and it's huge out there. Like out west in general, there's a place called Dutch Brothers that's out west. They do this thing called Rebels that are similar, so I was exposed to that a couple years ago, like 2020 when I was out west. And then going out to Utah this last year in 2023, I discovered a company called Swig, who like their whole business model is, what they call out there, they call them dirty sodas or dirty cokes, which is just, adding different things to soda water or lemon lime soda or whatever the case may be, and making these awesome drinks that are just phenomenal. So I came up with my own line, expired by my daughter and daughter approved. And what I love about it is when I'm walking through the dining room and checking on service, you got your tables that have the beer and the wine on the table, and that might be someone that's our age or a little younger in that age, but anytime you go down a teenager table, you see the refreshers on their table, and I think that's amazing. Is that one thing that I've loved about the restaurant industry is I've gotten older, as I always say, it keeps me young, So I get to see the new generation, and I get to work with the new generation, and I get to inspire and preserve some of the stuff from the old generation that I learned from, and pass it down to them. And I think that is a great thing. So it's another reason that I love what I do in general.
Right. And you get to adapt and do your new stuff.
Absolutely.
Which is super fun. Any plans on? I know this is really fresh because at the time of this recording, you've only been open for
almost 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah. 4 weeks. Oh my gosh. Weeks, yeah. Okay. Well, we got you. It'll be really interesting to listen to this back. Yeah. And have you back in a year and go, all right, what's happened in Pizzeria Deville?
Right.
So obviously you got to get your feet on the ground like firmly and do everything. But I love the community response, and I love so everybody get back over and visit Pizzeria Deville if you haven't been there. Get back over and do it. Anything in your dreams of ever having another Pizzeria Deville or anything else? Or is it too soon to ask you that?
I'm going to say it's a step at a time right now, and we're on a step that's quite a bit before that. I am someone that likes to look at the future, but I'm also someone that probably maybe don't show my cards before I can too. So I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I'm going to say it's not the focus right now. Right. The focus right now is really to make this one Pizzeria Deville absolutely wonderful, and then if we accomplish that, then I would say that's probably when I would be thinking about that.
Sure. I love that you're really concerned about customer experience, and even when you say that maybe the first night was a shit show, the Friday, but I love that you own that and learn from it, and invite people to give their feedback for that too. So it sounds like you work really hard, but you also own your things of how to get better, and the community appreciates that.
Yeah.
Because I think we live in a world right now of crappy service, where I just got back from Florida, and it doesn't matter where you go, that we are having an argument of how come waiters or waitresses get tipped 20% and you're expected to do it even if your service is crappy. There's no other industry in the world that you have to do that.
Yeah.
Which I was like, I don't know. That's a great question. Why do I feel like because I tipped a woman 20% who was the worst waitress I ever had in my whole life? Yeah. And the food was crappy too.
Yeah.
So to see people that take pride in it, and to hear your thing about building teams, because I firmly believe with having businesses that you and I are only as good as our worst employee, right?
Absolutely.
So they have to be trained, and they have to be, and the experience of going to a restaurant is, I think, half of it, right?
Yeah, and I think if you wait till training, you probably missed a good opportunity. So really, what I look for is heart, and I want to hire someone with heart because I can train them for skill, but I can't change someone's heart. So if they want to come in every day, they want to do a good job, those are the people that I want.
Right.
So then if I do that, it's like then I can retrospect and say, hey, if someone does do a bad job, I know this person, I know that their heart's there, so what's wrong? What's truly what can I gain from their perspective to understand how I can help them.
Right. Wow. All right, since we're getting close to the end here, I want to know that I love what you're doing, and I love to see how you and I were talking about like thin threads in life on how one thing brings you to another. So if you would have worked at a place and you never would have got let go,
yeah,
you would never be sitting where you are today, right?
Or decisions that like Martin that I talked about, if he didn't decide to come out here and open new Cafe Zupas,
right.
And he was my connection to Deville somehow or another, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and who says that you're not scrolling through something someday and read the article about them closing?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that go into it. Or John's not willing to sell you his stuff, or willing to give on, and
Absolutely.
Right, and didn't want his dream to live on through the community too. So it takes a lot of things to make things go right.
Absolutely.
And the community embracing at the same time. Is there one part of working at Pizza Hut or working with Crumble or anything, one of the most valuable lessons that you've learned maybe to where you got today? Can you put down, was there a person?
I can, absolutely. I teach it in a lesson to all my leadership now, and I love telling this story. I remember there was a time in my young GM career, and I was struggling with putting things together how they wanted, and I was in a place of like, I'd say blaming, where it's because of this and because of that, and this lesson kind of made me realize that I was focusing on the wrong thing. And so I was working with the HR person. I'm complaining about, all my struggles and why I can't do this and that, and probably making every excuse in the book. And then she asked me this one question, and she's like, "What kind of business are we in?" And I didn't realize why she was asking me, but I was like, "That's easy. We're in the food business, And she's like, "Well, you're wrong. Think about it again." I was like, "Pizza business." Okay, service business. She's like, "You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong." She's like, "It's easy. We're in the people business. We just happen to sell pizzas." And it resonated with me. It kind of, as I let that kind of digest to what she had said, like, I've been focusing on everything else except for the people. And if I focus on the people, everything else falls in place. And it's been my recipe for success since then.
I like recipe for success, by the way. But that's awesome. And just by meeting you, I see that, and that's awesome. So thank you for all the hard work that you're doing.
Appreciate that.
Anything else you want to share with the community before we sign off today?
Libertyville's awesome, and the community is awesome. So just maybe a little gratitude to them.
No, it's great, and it's a great place to be, and you couldn't ask for a better community to have around you. So,
absolutely.
So JR, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. Libertyville, thank you guys for listening. No matter where you guys are listening today, whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on Apple Music, whether you're on YouTube, wherever you're at, do me a favor and subscribe. The reason the show is done is to build community, to get to know the people that are behind our businesses, to get them to know them a little bit better, and know when you go and you spend your money there that it's going to a good place. And people have the heart and soul to make this community thrive. So subscribe there, and I always tell people, listen to the people you don't know, because a lot of times if you know the owner, you may already know their stories. But I really encourage you to listen to people maybe that you don't. And as I always say at the end too, remember that we never know when one of our friends is going through, maybe a family member or even a stranger. So I challenge everybody to do one random act of kindness today, whether it's holding the door for someone or just saying hello. We're all human beings here, so do one random act of kindness, and kindness spreads like wildfire. So if there's something you do today, go out and do it. I challenge you to do that. So Libertyville, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.